Hey tennis fans, I'm Grace Carter and this is Tennis Now presented by Tennis Express. Tennis Express, order today and it ships today. Well, officiating at the US Open has made headlines all over the world and it has sparked a war of words. Let me just remind you what happened. Serena Williams in the women's singles final got a coaching violation. She had words with the umpire. Then she smashed her racket. She got a second violation. It cost her a point. Then, as she continued arguing with the umpire Carlos Ramos, she received a game penalty. A lot of people think Serena got the shaft. On the other side, though, people think Serena deserved what happened. But Serena called the chair umpire, Ramos, a thief and a liar during that match. She charged sexism in officiating. She said she is fighting for women's rights and women's equality. And she said she used the word thief. Why was that such a big deal when men have done much worse to umpires? She feels it was sexist for him to take a game away from her. One fellow player, though, blasted Serena's stance. Czech player Barbara Strycova called Serena's sexism claim a big BS. In an interview with the Czech website Sport.cz, Strycova said of Serena, "How did she fight for women's rights? She says that's BS. The umpire did not take into account whether it was a woman or a man on the court." She says personally, she is someone who receives warnings often, so she can draw on her own experience in making the judgment. She says, "I said one word and I got a fine at the US Open." Well, the WTA, the USTA, and Hall of Famer Billie Jean King all are backing Serena on this one. By the way, Serena did incur a $17,000 fine. So does sexism really exist in officiating? The New York Times studied the stats and concludes it does not happen. Christopher Clary studied Grand Slam stats for the past 20 years, from 1998 to 2018, and he found that men were fined nearly 3 times more than women in that span. In the most common categories of fines, racket abuse, audible obscenity, and unsportsmanlike conduct. The total fines for men more than doubles those of women. Now, you'll recall Serena was docked a game in the US Open final after a verbal abuse violation that later sparked her charge of sexism. Now, at slams played over the last 20 years, men were fined 62 times for verbal abuse compared to 16 for the ladies. Interestingly, 2 categories women were fined more than the men. Number 1, coaching. The women were fined 152 times compared to 87 for the men. Refusing to conduct the mandatory post-match press conference, the Times says its data comes from all matches played in qualifying, main draw singles, and doubles at Grand Slams over the past 20 years, covering tens of thousands of matches. Some say the Times study, though, refutes Serena's charges of sexism. Others strongly disagree. Author and statistician Nate Silver tweeted the study does not show men are punished at a greater rate than women. It simply shows men are punished more. But Silver argues that could be because men just misbehave more on court. Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, who's married to Serena and who was in her box for the final, took to Twitter to trash the Times. Alexis says it's a misleading headline with a body of, quote, research that means literally nothing because it doesn't show if either gender is penalized at a greater rate per violation. Meanwhile, Serena doubled down on her sexism charge. In an interview with Australian TV program The Project, set to air later this week, Serena says she has no hand signals with her coach, therefore he could not have been coaching her. Serena reiterates her claim that women are treated differently than men by the umpires. So what do you think? Is there a gender bias in officiating, or do you think it's fair? We'd like to hear from you in the comments section below. That's our time for now. I'm Grace Carter. We'll see you next time here on Tennis Now.